I call to order a regular meeting of the President and Board of Trustees of Machesney Park, Illinois for Monday, September 19th, 2016. Please stand for the invocation led by Pastor William Cobb, Firstborn Ministry, and Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Aaron Wilson.
Lord Jesus, we thank you, God, for you have gathered together a great board for this village, Jesus. We thank you for Jerry Bowler, for he has a heart for the people, Lord, of this village. We thank you for every board member. We thank you for the wisdom and the knowledge that you have continually shown and given to them, Lord. Lord, I know that you are helping them to lead this village in the right direction. I pray that you will continue to do so in the years to come. I pray that you will continue to bless this village, bless this city. And Lord, let your grace, your blessing, and your love shine upon it. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk take a roll call, please?
Mayor Boland.
Here.
Trustee Snodgrass.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Bailey.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Clerk is present. The attorney is present.
Thank you, Lori. We do have a quorum. Next is approval of minutes from September 6, 2016 board meeting. I entertain a motion to approve.
So made.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or changes? I hear none. All in favor say aye.
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 Anybody disapprove? Okay, the minutes have been approved. Next we have Treasurer Report, Tom Yo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight's Treasurer's Report reflects what the village received in motor fuel tax of $51,056.69, bringing the total of all funds as of September 12th to $9,091,659.24. Also, as of September 16th, the village is holding funds in 4 financial institutions with FDIC coverage. Total pledged collateral is currently 179% of the current balance, which exceeds the 110% requirement of our ordinance. A detailed copy of the Treasurer's Report is available on the table at the back of the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I entertain a motion to accept the Treasurer's Report.
So made.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussions? I hear none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The Treasurer's Report has been accepted. Next we have communications. Lori Mitchell.
Thank you, Your Honor. A couple things this evening. First of all, I'd like to welcome Cameron Hecox, an honor student at Harlem High School, who will be serving this year as student liaison to the village board. Cameron's very active in Harlem athletics, playing tennis, basketball, and track, while serving on student council and the Red Ribbon Committee. She's also a longtime participant in Awana. Cameron will be reporting to the board and residents about what's happening in the Harlem High School this year. She will be presenting her report later in the board meeting. And also, as I announced last time, candidate packets are available in the clerk's office for residents interested in running for public office. In April, for election will be village president, village clerk, village treasurer, trustees in districts 1, 3, and 4. You're welcome to pick up packets anytime during business hours, 7:30 a.m. and 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m., sorry. And also this evening, Your Honor, Mayor Boland will be presenting a proclamation to Alice Uphouse in recognition of Constitution Week. And Trustee Snodgrass will be reading the proclamation.
Thank you, Lori. I know at Rock Valley College we were able to give out hundreds of little Constitution books last Friday and Thursday, and even in Spanish. So this is an honor. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law. And whereas September 17th, 2016 marks the 229th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, Jerry Boland, Mayor of the Village of Machesney Park, does hereby proclaim the days of September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week in Machesney Park, and encourages all citizens to reflect on the privilege of being an American, with all of the rights and responsibilities which that provides and which that privilege involves.
Okay, I'd like to just give a little bit of background of the Constitution. We all know that, right? The Constitutional Convention took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, May 25th to September 17th, 1787. On September 17th, 1787, 39 of the 55 delegates attending the Constitutional Convention signed the United States Constitution, forging a new government for the United States of America. The Bill of Rights was adopted on December 15, 1791. The United States Constitution has been amended 16 times. In 2004, Congress passed legislation establishing an Citizenship Day, a federal holiday commemorating the ratification of the United States Constitution September 17, 1787. So Alice, this evening, you as the honorary Rockford Chapter Regent of the DAR, the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, is the perfect person to receive this proclamation tonight.
Thank you very much. I have a couple things I'd like to add to that, if I may. The United States Constitution stands as a testament to the tenacity of Americans through history to maintain their liberties, freedoms, and inalienable rights. The celebration of the Constitution was started by the Daughters of the American Revolution. In 1955, the DAR petitioned Congress to set aside September 17th to the 23rd as Constitution observance. The resolution was later adopted by Congress and signed into public law on August 2nd, 1956, by then President Dwight D. Eisenhower. On a side note, Mamie Dowd Eisenhower was a DAR. She was a member of the Gettysburg chapter in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We could only speculate whether she might have encouraged Ike to make this special commemoration happen. Thank you, Mayor Boland and village trustees for continuing to support the Rockford chapter in all that we do in service to this community. Thank you.
That's my report this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Lori. Next, we have the warrants. Trustee Wilson.
Thank you, Your Honor. This evening, the Administration and Finance Committee met and voted on a positive recommendation for warrants totaling $680,475.09. I'd like to make a motion for their approval.
So made. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I hear none. Will the clerk take roll call, please?
Trustee Beck.
Aye.
Snodgrass.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye.
6 ayes and no nays.
Thank you, Lori. Warrants have been approved. Next is administrative reports. I'd like to say on Friday, September 9th, I had the honor to attend the Vietnam POW MIA ceremony. Bruce Jacobson, Rockford Charter Chapter Vietnam, put together an awesome program, ceremony recognizing and remembering our nation's POWs and MIAs. This program reminds us that our freedom comes with a price, and we will never give up on our nation's POWs, MIAs, until each one is accounted for. Thank you, Bruce, and the Rockford Charter Chapter Vietnam for your service and contribution to our communities. This year, we rejoice of the return of one MIA. SFC Alan Lee Boyer went missing 48 years ago while on a Green Beret mission in Laos on March 28, 1968. Alan's sister, Judy Barcher, reported that on March 7, 2016, the eve of what would have been Alan's 70th birthday, the Army called when news that remains were identified by DNA as Alan's. It was described as a high degree of accuracy in the match. His remains will be entered into the 624-acre Arlington National Cemetery in Arlington County, Virginia, across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. on June 22, 2016 at 1 p.m. We still have 300 missing and unaccounted for in Laos, said Ann Griffins, who chairs the National League of POWs MIA families. Bruce is in attendance tonight along with other Vietnam veterans. Would you please stand? Give them a big hand. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thanks for the recognition.
I also have a recognition, this evening, for GPS Faith Community Church at 10714 North 2nd Street. In the early part of 2014, Pastor Rob James came from the GPS Church, came into my office, and his conversation was focused on the church being more involved in community activities that would involve not just Machesney Park, but also regional participation. During our conversation, Pastor Rob threw out the idea of farmers market. There was nothing more to talk about. And what a great way to involve our communities and region. So in spring of 2014, GPS Farmers Market was founded. They bring healthy food to our community while supporting local agriculture and products. They supply atmosphere, a friendly, neighborly environment. And every Thursday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., May 26th through September 22nd, and they also have music entertainment. So thank you, Pastor Rob James and the GPS Faith Community Church for your community involvement. Can't find my toy drive there. Okay, I can't find my sheet. Oh, here it is right here. I got too many papers up here tonight. I'd like to announce the toy drive for 2016. This is our 8th toy drive. It's that time again to start collecting toys. Our toy drive for 2016 started with some folks a few weeks ago that brought in toys. But we will be collecting toys through Friday, December 9th here at the Village Hall. Collection time is scheduled work hours Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. All toys will be distributed by the North Park Church of Christ, 7620 Elm Street in Machesney Park on Saturday, December 10th. So help us make everyone's Christmas 2016 be joyful and donate a new toy. Next, we have Human Resources and Accounting Manager, Michelle Johansson.
Thank you, Your Honor. A copy of the annual treasurer's report is on the back table for publication and review. Tonight, we'll briefly review the audited financial results for the fiscal year 2016. The general fund had expenditures totaling $5,829,626.50 and ended the year with a $582,000 surplus. Sickich LLC completed the audit, and Carla is with us tonight to present. Thank you.
You should have received 3 reports that we issued as a result of the audit. We also will be providing the Comptroller's State Report in a few weeks. The 3 reports include the annual financial report, our auditor's communication to the Board of Trustees, and then your TIF compliance report. I'm just going to highlight a few items in each report and then open it up to any questions that you have. If you go to the annual financial report, page 1, this is our independent auditor's report. Even though we assist you in preparing this document, this is the only part of the report that actually belongs to us as auditors. Again, this year we issued an unmodified opinion, which is commonly referred to as a clean opinion. There's no misstatements contained in this document that would cause us to modify our opinion. If you turn to page 2, we highlighted that there was a change in accounting principle this year. You implemented GASB statement number 68 as required for the current year. I know that Michelle's provided you some information on the new categories contained in your statement of net position. But basically what this standard does is takes your pension accounting from a funding basis to a presentation of your actual long-term liability. In previous years, as long as you made your required contribution to IMRF, there was no liability reported on your statement of net position. Now IMRF hires an actuary to do a determination of your total pension liability for all of your employees and past employees, and they compare that to the assets that you've accumulated to fund that liability, and the net of the two amounts is reported as a net pension liability on your statement of net position. If you turn to page 4, there's 2 new items on your statement of net position. There's some deferred outflows of resources. That's kind of like an asset on your statement of net position, and what that is the actuaries will make assumptions when they're performing your valuation, and if they've made there's some change in estimate, then they amortize that over a number of years. And right now, because of that, you're carrying a deferred outflow of $201,000. And then down under liabilities is your net pension liability of $426,000. So in total for the year and the restatement of the prior year, your unrestricted net position decreased by $225,000. Because IMRF is such a well-funded plan, that's really a smaller liability than for some of the police and fire pension plans in the area. And then going to the auditor's communication to the Board of Trustees. Starting on page 2 are our required communications. A lot of these are just basically saying like we had no disagreements with management. So I just want to highlight a few of those items. We talked about GASB 68. And then we're required to report to the board if there's any accounting estimates that we feel could change within the coming year. We feel like the assumptions that are included in your actuarial valuation for IMRF could change within the coming year, and in fact they do. That's why you have that deferred outflow. So the board should just be aware of that. There could be changes in those deferred outflows and liabilities in the next fiscal year because of all of that is based on assumptions. Dropping down to corrected and uncorrected misstatements, we proposed no audit adjustments during our audit. None that were either material or not material in nature that could be uncorrected. That's quite an accomplishment for a finance department of your size, and I congratulate Michelle on that. That doesn't happen very often, and that takes a lot of hard work and attention to detail. And then turning to page 6, Every year, we do a review of all your key internal controls in order to assess our audit risk. We don't look at every single control within the organization, just those that we identify to be key to the audit. If you have strong internal controls, we do less testing than we do if there's weak internal controls. And as you probably are aware, over the years, we've made a number of recommendations to enhance your internal controls. But this year, after reviewing past recommendations and the current status of your internal control structures, we noted no material weaknesses. With an organization your size, that's rare. Michelle's done a lot of hard work to make sure that she's implemented the recommendations we've made over the years, and it's quite an accomplishment. And then turning to your tax increment financing district report, we're required to do some compliance tests to make sure that you're spending that incremental property tax revenue on the appropriate approved projects and other types of expenditures. This year we added, I think it was 2 funds. Once your property taxes accumulate to $100,000, then you're required to have a compliance audit for that TIF district. So this year we reviewed 4 different TIF districts, and we noted no exceptions to the compliance requirements. So overall, it was a good audit there. Went very smoothly. Again, whenever we requested information, we received it on a timely basis and finished our work in a timely manner. And I'd open it up to any questions that anybody has. Yes?
I just want to say thank you to your staff for answering a couple of my questions earlier in the audit when we were doing the questionnaire, so I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, those questionnaires I know sometimes they're a little confusing, but they're important to us to know the tone of management and how you as trustees feel that they're monitoring internal controls in other areas within the village.
Thank you again.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Carla. I'd just like to make one comment on Michelle's summary that you put out. That fiscal year 2016 saw consistent consumer spending as well as strong revenues from the state share of taxes. Spending throughout the departments remained within budget limits and resulted in a healthy surplus that is able to be applied towards fund balancing reserve and future expenditures. I just want to say that to each department head, congratulations on maintaining your budgets. Okay, let me get back to my paperwork here. Where's it at?
It's right under Michelle's report.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to accept the audit and place on file.
So made.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion has been approved. Next, we have Village Engineer Chris Dopkins.
Thank you, Your Honor. I provide a report on ongoing projects. The Kingsley and Drexel improvements. I'm pleased to report that the underground on both Kingsley and Drexel is now complete, and the curb and gutter improvements are occurring right now. Drexel is 95% complete. On Kingsley, we're just getting started, and 3rd and 4th Streets, which of course included in this project between Evans and Kingsley, are 50% complete with curb and gutter. Our next curb pour is on the south side of Kingsley, east side of 4th this Thursday, and barring good weather going into next week, we should finish up with that work next week. The contractor is also working on the remainder of the removals for this week, mostly sidewalk and driveway improvements, and starting to prep those areas for final improvements. So we're getting to the point now where we're putting things back together down there versus taking them apart. I'm pleased to report that the Scott and Huron improvements have reached the point of substantial completion. We have a few items to take care of on a punch list out there, some final quantities to get, record drawings to put together, but overall we're pretty much wrapped up with construction. That project went well. I'd like to say thanks to NTRAC for all their hard work out there. It went very smooth. The Prairie Dorothea improvements, the core out is actually be done tomorrow, and our first curb and gutter pour is scheduled for this Thursday. It'll be the south side of Prairie Lane, the east side of Dorothea that will get poured in first. The 2016 pavement maintenance program is up and running. The contractor was running a few days behind getting here last week due to rainfall in other places. The crews were delayed coming in by a few days. They started last Thursday on the streets south of Village Hall here, the Gilbert through Pershing area. Those streets wrapped up today. They moved over to Whitby and wrapped that up today. Unfortunately, we had some rain coming in, otherwise they would have gotten Winborn this evening as well. But they'll hit Winborn, Pettit Court, and the Alpine Service Drive, moving on to Copper, Emerald, Ruby, and then Men's here later in the week. One thing I would like to say, if there's a good chance of rain in the forecast or it rains in the morning, the contractor will not be working on the pavement. We need dry conditions in order to be paving. So if there's a good chance of rain, most likely they're going to call out the day's work. And then finally, the Alpine path improvements. Most of the core out is done. We do have a handful of utility conflicts and AT&T conflicts that you'll see that we have some things in the way yet that we don't have the core out done around those, but for the most part that's done. They'll be finishing coring and stoning the side streets except for Roosevelt and Gladys this week. William Charles Electric will be out working on the signal relocations at Roosevelt and Gladys and putting in the ped and push button posts. The foundations for those posts will get poured this week. The box culvert extension at Juniper will happen this week as well. Going into next week, we'll be starting to pour the ramps, and just kind of to get everybody's attention here, we have to take apart and put back together the Roosevelt Alpine intersection. The concrete that's out there right now has got a little bit too much slope on it for the standards that are in place for ADA crossings, even under a lighted condition. So we're going to stage that process going across the intersection. We're going to keep 2 lanes of traffic moving. One of the things that has happened is we've updated the signals with the video detection system so we can move around the detection zones as the lanes are moving. We can move around the detection zones to pick up cars that are coming through that intersection, but things are going to be tight in that intersection once we start tearing things out. We don't have a lot of room to work there, so we'll ask folks just to kindly stay away from that intersection while it's under construction. That's all I have this evening, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next, we have student liaison Tamron Heacock.
Hi. We have a Tanner Elliott project at Harlem, and he's a student, and he's working on raising money for a special needs ramp. It will go in the student section, and it would be $35,000. That's going pretty good. We also have a student named Josiah Wolf. He got a perfect score on the ACT. The vet doc program, it started off as like a really small class, and now it's like spreading really well. They're like honoring veterans, and they just partnered with a coffee shop, and like they had a little get together the other day, and veterans came and they gave them coffee and stuff. And Harlem is partnering with the Red Ribbon Committee that is also honoring service members and veterans. It's partnered with Boylan, and October 8th there will be a fair, and there will be a ceremony to honor service members and veterans. It's at Boylan Catholic High School. Right now we are working on getting a student council group to represent Harlem there.
Thank you, Tamron. Next, we have Public Safety Supervisor Sergeant Doug Bushman.
Thank you, Your Honor. The bi-monthly police report covers September 2nd through the 15th. In that time frame, there were 872 calls for service. We had 253 reports taken and 211 arrests. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Bushman. Next, we have committee and trustee reports. Do we have any reports? Trustee Wilson.
I actually had a question for Sergeant Bushman on his report. Just want to clarify how things are going as far as the river and the patrolling of the river. Is it done for the season, and will there be funding for it next year?
Yeah, the river patrols are done for this year. Generally, the sheriff has at least one boat on the river from Memorial Day to Labor Day, depending on weather. It might run later. Budget issues that have come up, he decided to end the boat patrol for this season. And I think it's just kind of up in the air at this point how much or if they'll have a boat patrol next year, depending on the budget that comes from the county.
Thank you.
Continue with your report, Trustee Wilson.
All right. The Administration and Finance Committee met this evening, Your Honor, and we'll have one resolution that will head to tonight's board meeting that's coming up. Also, I'd like to congratulate Advanced Machine and Engineering on 50 years of business. Had an opportunity to attend their 50-year celebration on Saturday night. The reason I mention them is because they own Henning, which is here in the village. So great job to the Goldner family. In fact, 86-year-old Willie Goldner, who is the owner and the person who started that fine company, still reports to work every day. He is an outstanding man, and that family is fantastic. So impressive that they're 50 years going strong. Also, I had a chance to serve on the 40 Under 40 Selection Committee as being a former recipient of a 40 Under 40 award from the Rockford Chamber. And I can just say this upon our meeting: the winners of this year will be announced coming up in November, and there is some great news that lies ahead for some of the young folks in Machesney Park. Again, I can't say any names this evening, but just know that Machesney Park will be represented in this round of 40 Under 40. To piggyback on what Tamron had this evening, the Harlem High Vet Stock Project is moving forward this year, and they do have canisters of coffee that they're selling to make profit for the future vet doc program. They're $10. You can get those at the high school. Might want to try the athletic area, and I'm sure they'll be at future games coming up too, and a big hats off to them for hosting the vets on Friday night with free admission to the game. Unfortunately, not a Harlem win, though. And I'll be talking in the future with our village administrator and also Michelle about ways that we can further save money. We had a great report tonight from Sickich, but there are still some areas with some of our services where I think that we could probably get some more of those money areas in check, and in turn give more back to our citizens and more back to our taxpayers and residents. So in the future, we'll be looking for further ways to save even more money. But great news to have a positive outcome here with the audit information and have a budget surplus, especially when you look at some of the other municipalities in the area and our county and some of the issues that they've been faced with. And that's all I have this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Trustee Kidd.
The Public Improvement and Safety Committee approved Resolution 52R16 with a positive recommendation for the next meeting. And thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Trustee Kidd. Trustee Snodgrass.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was privileged to attend the ribbon cutting along with several of you for the 173 corridor, and it does look good, and we're all up and running. And on behalf of the merchants and the residents, I was able to thank the IDOT as well as William Charles, and it was a very nice ceremony. I also want to thank Sergeant Bushman and his officers for all of the assistance they've given me with some of the challenging things that are going on in District 1. I've had to call them at sometimes what I consider late evenings, and they've always responded positively. So I want to thank them for that.
Thank you, Trustee Snodgrass. Trustee Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I met with one of the beautification committee members, Jeannie, last week, and we went over possible sites at the new entrance on the bike path in Alpine, and there's very, very good possibilities we get some flower beds in that area, which would be great news there. Also want to thank Public Works Director Chad Hunter for helping with the alley issue. We had a alley issue that they took care of, which thank you for that. And of course, Michelle for what a good report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Johnson. Is there any more reports? Trustee Beck.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also would like to commend Doug Bushman and his officers. We had at my house, there's a bus stop, and there's like about a 10-year-old boy that gets on that bus, and there's several times that the people have just blown that stop sign on that bus. I don't know if they've caught anybody for that, but I noticed that he's caught them, other people, for doing other things wrong at that intersection, so I want to thank him for that. He can use my driveway any day he wants to.
Thank you, Trustee Beck. Is there any more reports? I see none. Next, we have the consent agenda. Will the staff please present all the items under the consent agenda for the record, please?
Yes, tonight's consent agenda consists of item A, Ordinance 4316, an ordinance to amend Chapter 14 of the Village Code regulating the possession of cannabis and drug paraphernalia, first reading. Item B, Resolution 51R16, a resolution to approve and authorize signatures for the final Plat 2 Liberty Park replat of lots 8, 9, and 10 to combine said lots. And item C, Resolution 53R16, a resolution awarding the publicly bid contract for the flood properties demolition to Northern Illinois Service in the amount of $349,538. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tim. Are there any items a board member would like removed from the consent agenda and considered separately? I see none. The consent agenda is accepted as presented. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So made.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Will the clerk take roll call, please?
Trustee Snodgrass.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Mayor Boland.
Aye.
7 ayes and no nays.
Consent agenda with line item A, B, and C has been approved. Next, we have unfinished business. Ordinance 40-16, amend Chapter 21, Article 2, Job Descriptions, second reading. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So made.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Could I have staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This is a rewrite and update of the job descriptions for village employees, and also an update to the organizational chart. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Is there any trustee discussions? Trustee Beck.
Again, same ordinance spoke out against last weekend in committee. I think it's wrong for us to eliminate these descriptions of the positions from our ordinance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Beck. Is there any more discussion from the trustees? I see none. Would the clerk take roll call, please?
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Kidd.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye.
Beck.
Nay?
Snodgrass.
Aye.
Mayor Boland.
Aye.
6 ayes, 1 nay, and no absent.
Ordinance 40-16 for second reading has been approved. Next is Resolution 44R16, authorized contract for asbestos abatement at 8702 North 2nd Street. I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
So made.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Could I have staff report, please?
Thank you. Back in